Hey, Monica. Thank you so much for being here.
I am so glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Thrilled to have you be a part of this summit. Realign your thoughts for
Yes.
women who want to exude confidence in every area of their life. So, why don't you tell us your story, Monica? So, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you joined the summit.
I am going to give you the short version of my story. I am Monica Lewis, and I own the Monica Lewis School of Etiquette. I've been in business over 14 years. And just recently, which is my new baby, which is extension of the Etiquette School, I have now a loose leaf tea business that ties into my etiquette school. And the tea business was launched during the pandemic out of frustration. Had no plan to open my own tea line. And literally out of frustration, I'm 32 blends in. I'm married. I have 5 children. Let's see what else. My etiquette program is in over 400 plus schools. I travel the world teaching manners and etiquette classes to children and teens and adults. Some of my clientele is one specifically that I'm working on that keeps me really busy. It's the Miss USA pageant. And so I am the etiquette trainer for the Miss USA pageant. In addition to all the other things that goes with business. But that is my big project for now. That is keeping me busy for the next 8 months because I'm doing a lot of traveling, which means that you have one representative in each state. So that means I know someone in each state. So that's the benefit.
Well, congrats to you on your new tea line. I'm sure that is very exciting.
Yes, yes, it is something totally different, but it's still aligned with the business, with the etiquette school. I teach afternoon tea etiquette. And so it is very fitting, but never actually had that planned. And so I've always tell people like, look, you step in faith, you walk in faith, you have a desire, but put it to work, and things that you probably would have never been able to articulate will come in your path.
So let us jump into that first question.
Okay.
What is confidence to you?
Confidence is having the ability to actually know exactly what you're doing, what you're there for, not to be, sometimes people think confidence is being arrogant. No, it's not. It's actually showing your strengths in addition to weakness, because the fact is that all of us have weaknesses, but we never highlight that weakness as a form of confidence. Confidence tells me I have a weakness, I have acknowledged it, and I'm good to learn. Okay, so that's acknowledging that you have that weakness. Also, confidence also lead into having the belief or knowing that you're able and capable of doing a job or being true to who you are and being okay with that.
So knowing your what, why, and your capabilities. Got it.
Yes,
Now,
if you put it in a nutshell, that would be perfect. I may have to trademark that.
girl, you can have it.
I know. Yeah, knowing your what, your why, and your capability, and being okay to be the only one.
I like that.
Sometimes people get confused that, like, you sell Mary Kay. There are a lot of Mary Kay consultants. There's a lot of etiquette consultants, but guess what? They're not you. And you have to know that you have a certain clientele. You have the ability to do what you do and to know that nobody can do it better than you. Why? Because you're being you. That's the confidence.
So then, do you consider yourself a confident person, and why would you say so?
Very much so. I'm very confident because I have taken the limit off of being a people pleaser. I've taken the limits off of putting myself in a box or trying to fit in. And I'm okay every day creating my own lane. And it's very obvious and evident because as I look at other etiquette consultants, first of all, historically, or the trend, you found very few African Americans. I mean, if you're going to be honest, to have an etiquette school. And so I never desired it as a child to have an etiquette school. But when I was working in corporate America, it was this particular time in my life that I was looking to do something different. Why? Because my boss was getting on my nerves and I was ready to give it up. That was really the truth. And so I was willing to give up 17 years just for that reason of that encounter I had like year 15. And so God would not allow me to move. Like literally, I was applying for jobs that I was underqualified, but I was okay, because I just wanted to get out. And it was not time for me to get out. Why? It's because I had no idea that my boss was going to be newly reporting to a former boss that I worked with in the past many years ago. And we had a great relationship. And so I didn't want to move anymore. I mean, I'm good. And so after I felt like situation was resolved, then I get the answer. Charm school. So the moment I stopped seeking and just said, you know what, I'm good, that is when the answer came. Because what happens, yes, you must you have a desire, you work, but sometimes in our seeking, we become desperate. And when we become desperate, we end up making premature decisions. And so all of that to say, got a new boss, no longer interested. I'm good, living life well. And all of a sudden, God says charm school. But then it also aligned with who I am. No, I didn't have the etiquette piece. I didn't have so much of the polish, as you would say, but I was big on respect and manners because that's how I grew up. I grew up in the hood. So we could not afford to go to etiquette classes. I didn't even know there was any such thing. So to be able to articulate etiquette, but etiquette, the part of is that knowing what to do in social settings, making you comfortable. But manners is much more deeper because it aligns with respect. Because I can know etiquette and still be disrespectful. And so the manners part was the core, which what I had. So the etiquette piece was the beauty, the whipped cream on top. So I became certified and didn't know it was any such thing, but I found out you could become a certified etiquette consultant, did that. A year later, I resigned from my job, doing well, resigned to know that it's time for me to move on. So I was very confident, knowing for a fact I was called to do it. And when you know for a fact, can nobody question you? Because I remember sharing with some older individual at work that I was deciding to leave. They were like, you're going to take a risk? Why would you take a risk to leave a 6-figure job to start a business? But I knew it wasn't a risk because I knew for a fact this was it. This was my purpose. I was called to do this. And 14 years later, it shows proof. Why? Because my program, again, in 400 plus schools, I work with so many. Actually, when I left the company I worked for, God allowed me to go back to the company to teach an etiquette class.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. And so, yes, I would say I have confidence because I'm okay being in my own lane.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you about business confidence.
Mm-hmm.
How would you define someone having business confidence?
When you know the job, when you study. For example, I just left over the weekend. I was taking an exam out of town for my tea business. And this is the third exam, not the third same exam, but it's the third exam that my goal is that I'm able to pick from the top 2% tea gardens in Taiwan. I'm going beyond, so I actually have hand pluckers signed in India and Sri Lanka and Taiwan and China and Japan. So I was getting this certification. And so, but in order to take the test, they gave you a booklet to study. So I studied And I was confident that I was going to pass because I was prepared. So when you have studied your craft, when you have prepared yourself, that confidence comes automatically like, okay, give me the test. I was the very first one to finish. And I was sitting among other people that were chemists, that worked with Dr. Pepper, that worked for Coca-Cola, worked for international tea company that was already producing multi-million dollars. And I am the first one to actually pass and make, not only pass, but make 100 on all 3 exams. Why? Because I studied. So that is where business confidence is when you know that you've done the job. You have put the work into study. You have put the work into perfect your craft. That's when business confidence comes within.
So when you know you got the knowledge and you know the job, you have that confidence. Now, what about in your particular line of business, how does confidence play into specifically what you do?
It plays specifically what I teach. I teach confidence. So I have to make sure you have 6 to 8 seconds to make an impression, whether it's good or bad. Okay. And so if a new client comes to me and I don't appear to be confident, which is not a fake, I'm very confident because I know my job. You know, you cannot beat me not asking me a question about etiquette. You cannot beat me without knowing anything about loose leaf tea, premium tea, tea gardens, the anatomy of the tea leaves. Why? Because I studied. And so when you question me, I'm able to answer. So my body language began to change because I have nothing to prove. I know my stuff. You're coming to me because you know that I am an expert, or you coming through referral because someone has witnessed my ability and you take their word for it. So when you coming to me, I'm not even questioning that you not think I'm confident. Because of the fact I'm already walking into, because I know my job. You're coming to me for a service that I can present and I can do with my eyes closed.
Yeah, no doubt on your part.
No. Now you may doubt, but I won't.
Right. And so what has actually helped you to exude that confidence in your professional and in your personal life?
I always grew up as the kid, not enjoying getting in trouble. So if I got in trouble, I made sure I understood why I got in trouble so I don't repeat that cycle again. And so that is the same pattern I have with life. You know, before I make a decision or before I really think it out, what is the consequence from this? You know, what is the, what I'm going to get from this? Do I have to do it now? And so being okay not making a decision right then, but then also knowing when you did not make a decision, you made a decision.
Okay.
And I find myself trusting your instincts and moving on them. Because the thing is that when you allow time to go by and not move on, you will talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And being very protective and selective who you share your vision to, who you, because the thing is, where you want to go is so much bigger than where you at now. So people are not going to understand. And I don't expect them to understand because the vision wasn't given to them. The assignment was not given to them. And being okay that if they don't understand, if your media circle is not supportive, that's not who your clients are. And it does not have an impact on your ability because that is not your client. And so when I think of when I started the business 14 years ago and I left my job, my corporate job, I didn't have a template of being a successful business owner. I didn't have a template of someone mentoring me to start an etiquette school. But I knew what my challenge was. My challenge is to go into a different environment of people that does not look like me and be able to present and be comfortable. So what did I do? I threw myself in a networking group outside of Houston, like the deep side of the suburbans. I was the only one that looked like me. So I threw myself and jumped in, like literally jumped in the pool, because I knew if I can get rid of this feeling or this insecurity, I can move past forward and really go into what I need to do. So I went head on. All of us know what that challenge is. All of us know what our insecurities are. Or it's two ways. Either you're going to let it control you, or you're going to take it and use it for your good. And so by joining that networking group, I stayed with that networking group for a year, did not make not even half of the money I worked from my corporate job. But I knew I was there so that I can be comfortable and being confident with being around a certain group of people, and being okay and being able to deliver. So I had to put myself in that situation. Did that make sense?
Yes, that makes complete sense. And I really appreciate you sharing that. So, two things that really hit for me is that when you said, of course, to trust your instincts, but that the people, that are in your circle, they're not your clients, and that it doesn't impact your ability, because a lot of times you think that because those are the people that you love and you want them to feel the same way that you feel about something, but that's not always the case, because they see you as you are, and sometimes it's hard for them to see you for who you want to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's true. I mean, literally, when I started the business, when I left my corporate job, I'm married. I have 5 children. At the time I have a set of twins. At the time they were like 3 or 4. We had just moved into a beautiful home, which we were still here 14 years later. Just bought 2 luxury cars. And this vision or my assignment or confirmation came to me after we got all these things. Now, I'm telling my husband that I'm not going to return back to my corporate job after this certain date. And of course, he's like, wait a minute, we have these 2 kids. We have this brand new house. We have 2 luxury cars. What do you mean? And we did have some hostility, but I've always been the wife that, okay, Lord, I know what you told me. I need you to do the work in him, because I cannot convince him, but I'm yet going to respect him as my husband. But at the same time, I already have a plan and I already know I'm not returning. So make him ready, but I'm not going to push him. I'll tell you, my very first session that I did, and I was still working. Oh my goodness, my husband, we talk about this. We sometimes do interviews together. He brought up, he says that it was almost like I was pregnant and I didn't go through 9 months. I went through 1 month and want to deliver the baby, right? I say, no, that's not true, because I've been telling you this throughout months, but now you feel like I'm going full-fledged because I stayed with it, and you probably didn't see a lot of the work I was doing. So I was already working, but when you have something in your mind, it's like, and this is your assignment. If you have an event to attend and you the head person to speak, I don't care if you're not ready. I tell my kids, you're not ready, you're just gonna miss it, because I'm not gonna be late, right? And so you still continue on the journey. And so I for about 6 to 8 months, I had to really, I was continuing to work the plan at the same time, praying, say, God, I need you to work on him while I work this plan. I'm still working, but I knew what the end goal was going to be. And in that time, I remember one morning I was getting up every morning about 4 a.m, going to my office at home, praying, and not loud, just okay, that's the plan, and pray, Lord, because when there's animosity or hostility between you and your significant other. Okay. And so this one morning, it was about 5 months later. So I'm writing this thing out, 5 months later, this particular Saturday morning, he gets up about 4. My husband normally don't get up early on Saturday mornings, not that early. So he comes in the office and I'm already up. He says, so what's the plan? When he asked me, what was the plan? I knew his heart has changed. And sometimes we feel like we stop working the plan because the outside don't look like it's adding up. So we give up in the middle because it's not, for you visually, it's not moving like you want it to move. So you just drop it. But at the same time, you're supposed to continue to do it because it's teaching you something. And if I would have gave up, I wouldn't have been able to say, oh, here's the plan. I slid the plan to him across the desk. He was like, okay, so when you want to do this again? I said, in 3 more months. January, I'm out. January 21st. I was very specific, but I did not push it. I didn't pressure it. I said it once or twice throughout the entire time, that 6 to 8 months, and that was it. So my advice would be that if you know this is what you're supposed to be doing, or whatever that is, or the decision you have made, and you know that you are in alignment, your thing is called realign. Sometimes when you are alignment, we're out of position, but we're expecting something, expecting the result, but you're out of alignment. Mm-hmm. Right? But if you know this is your calling, you have to be able to be in season and out of season. So even when it don't look like it's not going, you still working the plan, because there are going to be people. It's almost like I was telling one of my clients, I do private coaching, and I was telling her, it's almost like similar to the show, The Amazing Race. Mm-hmm. The Amazing Race, you go through and you get your clue for the next thing. Right? The goal is to win all this money at the end, but you got to go through and collect all these clues. But once you finish the assignment, then you get the new clue. Right. But you don't know what's going to be in between that clue or the process to get that clue to the next clue. But you're willing to do it because you got your eyes and your mind set up on the end goal. I want the money. But what happens is that we get the clue, we go through it, we don't like, we got to go through it. Oh, I'm done. And then you stop it. And so treat it as if you know the end goal, go through it, because the benefit is on the end.
Yeah. And I also like that you said how you really stepped outside your comfort zone, because you knew that was what you needed to do. You took that action, and it's scary. Yes, it is very scary, but the reward is on the other side. You just have to take that action.
Right. And for me, I am a woman of my word. If I said it's going to happen, and I know for sure this is the end goal, oh, I'm in. I'm sold. So when it doesn't go right, I'm still in. When it's going right, I'm still in. When I get tired, I'm still in, because I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. And if I give up, I'm gonna counterfeit. I'm gonna lose it, And so just knowing and moving and not just having a desire, because desires don't do nothing but a desire.
Right.
We all got desires. I desire to be smaller, but if I don't stop eating that spinach cream crab dip, it ain't gonna happen. If I don't stop, if I don't do it in moderation, it's not gonna happen. I just have a desire. And understanding that, this is a very important thing, that understanding time. Time is something you cannot get back.
No.
And so if you have a goal, you work that time for you in every moment you can. Don't waste your time doing things that's not going towards your goal. Now, there's some times you need some downtime, but I'm talking about a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and life happens, being willing to adjust too, because life, you have a plan. You know when you're going to implement the plan, you're going to measure yourself to make sure and plan, but then life happens and it's supposed to happen, but being willing to adjust, go through the healing process, come on out of it so you can get back on plan.
So let me ask you this then. So when you need to realign your thinking, what do you do or what do you say? Like when those negative thoughts start to creep in, you're feeling some self-doubt, what do you do or what do you say to get you back on track?
I really literally stop everything. Meaning that if I have to take 2 or 3 days, I need to regroup. It could be just a weekend, and feeling those moments. Some people think you have to be, when you cry, you release. Some feel like I don't want, you feel it, but you're still trying to hold it in. Literally taking that moment to acknowledge your feelings and not suppress them. And affirmations don't work with me. Like putting on the mirrors and all that don't work because I don't even look at the words. That's just not, it works for some, but it doesn't work for me. You know what works for you, so it's not a one size fit all. For me, I shut down 2 days. Yes, I'm going to pray. But then sometimes it's me just stopping. Give me 2 days. I'm gonna be in probably my pajamas the whole day. I'm gonna look at TV. I'm not answering no phones. I'm not answering to nobody. I'll tell my husband, look, I need a break. Or if I go and get a room and just use that time, and then during that time, I'll revisit. What is my ultimate goal again? That's, this hit me. I flew in this late last night. And when the flight attendant was putting on, going through the training, saying you put on your mask and all of that, something happens, you put yours on first and then you put on the next person. What we tend to do is put on the next person and then put on ours. We take care of everybody else, but don't take care of us.
Right.
And we end up dying while everybody is gone. And so the moment I feel like I need a break, I make that clear because I don't do it all the time. So if I'm saying, now if you need a break every 5 minutes or every week, no, something's wrong. But I'm talking about when I need a break, and you have to honor that and respect that and be okay not feeling like you're being selfish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And be able to say, look, 2 days, if the house can't function, I got this thing with my kids. If we're going on vacation, now I'm all about education and all of that. But if it works for us that you're going to miss 2 days of school, that means like if you're going to fail because you missed 2 days, you was already failing. 2 days, so if 2 days you can't take a break, you was already doomed.
Wow. That's something to consider. Yeah, because a lot of people think, yeah, if I take a break, my business will crumble. And a lot of times that's just something that we believe. But for some people that may be true. But like you said, that's because things weren't already order. You were already, kind of thinking a little bit.
Yeah. And so you was thinking because you was operating out of bad habits.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So whether that's procrastination, because let me tell you something. If you want something done, and it's like literally, I can do a lot of stuff in 4 hours or 1 hour that I could have done in a whole week because I have a checklist. I'm focused. I need to get this done, that done. Versus I'm just procrastinating, or I'm looking at Netflix, or, you know, on social media, and now get to crunch time, and then you want to go over, you know, it's not working. No, 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 no. What have you done? There should be some evidence of your time. There should be some evidence, some results of the time that you have put in.
The time you invest it's huge. It's huge to your business. So on that point, let me ask you, what would then be 3 things that you would tell someone that they maybe want to focus on in order to start building that business or to regain that business confidence?
Know, first of all, what is your end goal? If you don't know your end goal, whether it's, you know, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or not, if you at work, if you're in corporate, my end goal is to become the vice president of this. Now we can put a plan to action, right? So knowing your end goal, not only knowing your end goal, but why. And if that why is become a selfish why, you need to revisit. Because your why is supposed to be bringing people around you up to in the process. Okay. My end goal is to have an etiquette school. My why is because I wanted to be able to present my program to children that was just like me, that grew up in the hood or low income, that never had a chance or would never have a chance to actually go to an etiquette school or take etiquette classes. Why? Because they deserve to know it too. Because of the fact they had nothing to do with their parents' financial income.
Right.
You know, or whatever that situation is. So in my business, even while I was taking the T certification, these people are so surpassed me as for paper wise, business wise. But they know when they come in my presence, there is a difference. You have enough power within yourself to change the atmosphere around you. So with you knowing your end goal, you have the power within yourself to get there, along with God, principles, work.
Mm-hmm.
But then also making sure you connect with people that have more than you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, and people sometimes think it's monetary. No, that too, but have wisdom. Because knowledge will get you in places, but wisdom will get you further.
True.
Another thing, making sure, this thing is you got to, even though I teach manners and etiquette, make sure you are kind and respectful. People will always remember how you made them feel. And if you have something in mind, whether it's you want to grow in a business or you want to sell a product, now there's going to be people that's going to say negative things about you no matter what.
Right.
But they already familiar with that source. So they expect that person to say whatever because they say that by everybody. But what happens to a person who says that have a good reputation? Have said something negative about you that matches what the other negative people have been saying that's already negative. And so treating people with respect goes a long way, because you never know who that person is, as well as the help or the access they can put you or provide for you, just because you made them feel that they are someone.
Yes.
And so in your end goal, knowing your end goal, I wanted, like I said, I wanted the etiquette school. One of my things when I started out, I didn't have hardly no clients. I went and got a dress made. Actually, this is like maybe here. You can see my logo, but it's not this dress. It's an older, I don't know how I'm turning. Here it is on my dress. And it was almost like I love dresses, but it was an A-line, almost put you in a Lucille Ball dress. It was my uniform. No clients, probably less than, not enough to pay the bills. But every day I kept that goal in mind, and I would go to Starbucks in that dress with business cards in my purse, neat. And I made a goal every day that I'm gonna give my business card out to at least 10 people. I'm not gonna go up to them. They're gonna come up to me. Why? Because my dress already created conversation. I was wearing my brand. So what do? Because you gotta be prepared to answer. Oh, I teach manners, etiquette to children, teens, and adults. Pretty much, I teach people how to behave. What? You teach manners and etiquette? Okay, can you do this? Are you able to? So already having your pitch, already having your sale. And that is really how my business grew, because I was committed to getting them business cards out every day, even in the rain. And I was just ordering coffee or sometimes water, because I couldn't keep spending money on coffee like that. So I would go and look at the cheapest thing on the menu. Let me have Americano. That's just coffee and water. That was $2.95. And I have a cup, and you was able to get those refills. And I stayed there during the busy morning. So between 9 to 11. And I knew within 9-11, I was going to meet that goal. But then I was also willing to talk. Another thing, that's why I went and joined the networking group, because I wasn't comfortable, and I'm gonna let you go. One of my biggest insecurities now is it don't bother me anymore, is that I have a lisp. You hear that sound. Always had it. So when I was in school, kids used to tease me behind it. So when I would read out loud, they'll make the snake hissing noise, right? And so towards the end of elementary, middle, and high school, I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to read out loud, because of the fact that's what they always done. And I didn't want to go through all that. At this time now, I'm 21 years old. I'm at home in my room, and two guys came on TV back to back, Bishop T.D. Jakes and Michael Strahan. Okay. Both of these individuals are speakers, multimillionaires. They both have a lisp, and they both have a gap. I only had the lisp, but then they also was on major network platform speaking. Literally, this came on while I was passing through my room, and something just stopped. I don't know what they was talking about, but that is when I had my aha moment. And I said, if they can get on TV with a gap and a lisp, oh, why I'm not talking? Only to have that aha moment. And those same people, that my same classmates, now that we're adults now, been out of school many years, get a chance to watch me on TV with my lisp on every major network, in New York Times. And I never changed the lisp. Sometimes we think our insecurities, we got to change it. And even in my curriculum or in my coaching session, I have a topic says, I have a lisp, so what? So whatever that insecurity is, you place, I have this, so what? And that really springboard me with, oh no, I'm not going in no longer, no adulthood of what happened to me as a child. Because if I would have carried that on, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, even with you right now.
Yeah.
And as I speak, like tomorrow morning, I have a TV segment at 9 o'clock. And still going to be on there with my list, you know? And so that's what I would advise people. I know you asked them 3 points, and just hopefully they're able to summarize that. Knowing your end goal, having a plan, putting the plan to work. Whatever that insecurity is, don't let it control you, you control it. And the only way you can control it is walk it and embrace it. Especially if you can't do nothing about it. Embrace it, make it work for you.
Yeah. And that's it. Well, I think we can end on that note. Yeah, that was some powerful stuff right there, Monica.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I am always in gratitude when people give of themselves and their time. And you have definitely done that, and I truly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for thinking about me. And so if you need me, you know where to find me. We'll put you in the schedule, but I'm glad you are talking about this, because now we're in the second quarter. Is this the third quarter or the second quarter of the year?
Second, almost third.
Almost third. Leaves you to have less than 6 months to do what you're going to do. And to realign yourself back in position. Because the thing is, sometimes we feel like when we have gotten so far away, we can't return back. Yes, you can. As long as you're able to identify where you got stuck at. And let me start there. But that forces you to be transparent with yourself. So thanks for having me.
Again, thank you.
All righty. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.